Is diet and exercise not working for you? Here's what you might be missing. You know that little rectangle we all carry around? Well, there's some research that shows that this may actually be hindering your weight loss goals. Yeah, and there's some other research too. I've got a lot of scientific research for you today if you're kind of a science nerd like I am. And if you're kind of a nerd in other areas, I'm going to be sharing some nerdy ways we can nerd out with our devices. So you wouldn't think that devices have to do with your fitness and your wellness, but they absolutely do. We are living in an age where modern technology has kind of taken over our existence. Now more so than ever, we are bombarded with Wi-Fi, with Bluetooth. We've got it in our cars, we've got it in our hands with our we've got it on our computers. We've got it in our homes, talking to little nosy Miss Alexa who's listening to everything. And this is affecting your health. And so tune in today. I want you to hear how it's affecting your health and what you can do about it. You can ask questions about your devices too. This is something I've been researching for a long time. And it's kind of interesting because everybody thinks it's about the food. What if it's not? What if you could eat things that you want to eat, but all you have to do is limit your exposure to some of these devices? Well, that's where you're going to tune in today. So right now, with being in COVID times as well as just the weather, we've had some ice in our area. So a lot of people are stuck inside more than they normally are, and that's typically when we're like on a lot of device usage to get us through the day. And maybe you're working from home now, so you're on a device a lot. How is it affecting your health? Yeah, maybe you feel it anxiety-wise, right? Maybe you're feeling a little more anxious these days. Is it because you have extra work on your plate, or is it actually more to do with the fact that there's something unbeknownst to you that's causing the anxiety? And I think you'll be interested to know that these devices can cause us anxiety. So remember, let's go back in time a little bit to about 2 decades ago, when we as a society had much less exposure to these devices. In fact, hardly any. So we might have had a computer in your home. Generally, that was when you were going on Oregon Trail to try to avoid getting dysentery or typhoid. Remember that? Or play Carmen Sandiego if you were like me. But we might have just had a computer at work, and that was it. We came home, we had our landlines, we didn't have a cell phone. I remember when my mom got a bag phone, I thought that was the coolest thing ever, that we could call in the car. Now, fast forward to where we have Wi-Fi in our toasters, okay? And there's now a chip you can put in your baby's diaper that will tell you when the baby is wet, okay? There's so many things wrong with that on so many levels. And what about our refrigerator that tells us when to order groceries, or Alexa that's listening as soon as you say, hey, I need this, okay? So it is literally everywhere. And if we could see the radiation that we're exposed to, if we could see these little laser beams in our atmosphere, you would be shocked at what amount of electromagnetic fields are around you. And that's what EMF is. EMF is electromagnetic fields. And frequency and radiation, 5G, satellites. They've launched a ton of satellites just this year into the atmosphere. Mark Zuckerberg with Facebook and Elon Musk, all of these people have launched satellites to make kind of worldwide Wi-Fi. And this is affecting our health. It's no different than if you regularly exposed your head inside a microwave oven and turned it on. Okay, it's the same megahertz of frequency. They're now more part of human existence, and according to the research, they're slowly destroying human health. So I'm going to have a whole bunch of links that when I'm done with this webinar or this podcast, I'm going to post them, and you guys can go through and actually read the research, because it's not just me saying this, okay? It's a real thing, and there's something we really need to do about it, because it's not just our health. Yeah, EMF has been touted as a probable carcinogen, meaning a cancer-causing agent. So keep that in the back of your mind when you're playing words with friends. But also, it's affecting your waistline. I'm going to show you research to where it could be the reason why your belly is fat, okay? It could be the reason why your body is not responding to the exercise and the meal plan that you're doing. And if it's that simple as just slowing down on the device usage and the weight drops off, why not, right? Okay, so how often in the last decades before these decades did you look on the horizon and count cell phone towers? You know, if you could, you know, the next time you go for a drive, I want you to count how many cell phone towers you pass. And you may be surprised because a lot of them have popped up and we're not even aware of them. Like, we're so conditioned to this modern world that once you start looking for them, you're like, I had no idea there were this many cell phone towers around. But did you know that living within a quarter-mile radius of a cell phone tower actually promotes DNA damage to your cells? Okay, these things are legit, and people are paid money to put them on their property. You can get, like, I think right now the going rate is like $400 to $500 a month to put a cell phone tower on your property. There's a huge cost before you run out and call the telecom industry and have them come out, okay? And we're going to get into that. So your health, your psyche, and even your waistline. Here's what you need to know. This is what we're going to talk about shielding from these devices, because we need to be in the modern world, but not be of it, and not let these devices affect our health as much as they are right now. So you can still be smart with your cell phone, or smart with your smartphone, I should say, but be smarter than your smartphone, okay? So, all right, the first one I want you to learn about is our smartphones are causing immune issues. Yeah, we could all use a little immune boosting right now, right? Living in the mask world. So we need to slow down on device usage, because a 2017 study on human antibodies showed that it seems that radiation of mobile phone antennas, because these all have little antennas in them, and so does your tablet. If it connects to Wi-Fi, you've got an antenna in there. It seems that these mobile phone antennas influence the blood and the immune system. So the effects of the immunological and hematological factors on exposed persons was legit. Like, they noticed blood markers changing, okay? And I've seen instances on blood work where people that have a lot of Wi-Fi exposure, they'll have really coagulated blood, like it's really stodgy and it's not moving through. And then when they ground, like you go outside and you put your feet on the earth, or maybe you're on a grounding mat, it dramatically changes, okay? So there's something legit about disconnecting from the device and connecting to the earth that will actually change your blood chemistry, okay? How about this study, which states that the mobile base station, which is another fancy word for saying cell phone tower, that emit EMF, it exceeds the limits for children's bodies. Okay, and this was an exposure in kindergarten children out of a study in the Science Environmental Epidemic Journal in 2016. So, yeah, living near a cell phone tower or being in the vicinity of a cell phone tower actually exceeds the limits that a child's body should have with EMF. This is legit stuff, let me tell you. So we don't have any idea the detriment that's going on as a result from our cell phone usage, because you don't feel it. You're not holding your phone and going, "Ugh, what's happening to my hand?" But you kind of do feel it, because how often have you been like researching stuff and you start to get anxiety and you start to tense up and your body starts to feel unrested? That's the EMF. Or have you ever had where your hands get really warm, or your brain feels like it's burning or tingling a little bit? I know when I'm in Bluetooth a lot, the top of my head will feel like it's burning. So it's something that maybe it is happening to you. You are a little sensitive to the stimulation of EMF, but you're not recognizing it. And why would we be sensitive? Our body's made of 50 to 60% water. So are you going to drop your cell phone in a bathtub? Are we supposed to put the radio in the bathtub? So it's kind of an electronic device. And so are we. Like, our hearts are electric. You go to the sleep study and they put an EKG on you to measure the electric pulses of your heart. Okay, so with that, you need to understand that when you're holding one of these devices and every second it's pinging to the cell phone tower that's nearby you to get that signal so that you get that text right when it comes in, it's also going through you. You have now become an antenna so that it can transmit to other people or other things around you and use you as a conduit. Okay, so this is interesting to know, because we don't think about this. We just think about the fact that we can connect with our friends anywhere we want. We can be on Zoom for hours on end, but what detriment is it having to your body? Could it be causing cellular damage to where your body's not able to respond to the diet and exercise program that you're doing? All right, so let me pull up this next study. because this one has to do with that waistline issue we were talking about. So it alters, the research clearly showed that it actually alters sex hormones. Okay, so there is a study out of, let me pull up, it's the iOS Journal, and it's talked about how it actually affects the sex hormones, the reproductive hormones. Anytime you're affecting the reproductive hormones, that means testosterone, that means estrogen, that means progesterone. And if you're affecting those, then you're not going to see results. If you're lowering them to any degree, if one lowers, the other one goes high. So if testosterone goes low, estrogen goes high. If you're estrogen dominant, you're going to put weight on because estrogen is a fat storing hormone. Okay, that's why we get curves at puberty. And so if you are affecting anything that affects your sex hormones, it's going to affect your weight. Okay, and then here's another one that shows that exposure to EMF caused a weight increase. This study actually showed that and alters your metabolism. So it showed that after 7 weeks, I mean, think about how long we've been using these devices, right? Since about, I think the Apple iPhone came out in like 2003. Okay, so since that time, we've had these as part of our life. So this was just 7 weeks that increased, a dramatic increase. It kind of surprised the scientists in the studies of weight. All right, so did these pants make me look fat? No, 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 your cell phone does. Okay, so that's what you need to think about. And here's another thing to think about. How about the fact that we live in an age where there are more access to healthy food? Like you can go to Walmart now and get keto, you can get paleo, you can get gluten-free stuff. Okay, so we have more access to healthy foods. And we have more gyms on every corner and more, we've got these great fitness classes for you of all genres going on. And, YouTube videos. Oh my gosh, if you Google anything on YouTube, you're going to find any kind of workout at any length of time, at any intensity that you want. Okay, so we have more exposure now to eating healthy and exercising than ever before in human history. And yet we are fatter and sicker than ever before in human history. Riddle me that, okay? So what I'm saying is, it's not about the food. This is coming from a nutritionist that my whole day is about researching nutrition. It's about the things you're doing outside of what you're eating. Is it because you're eating egg whites and that's why you're heavy? No, okay, it's not that, it's a lot more complicated than that. Are bananas making you gain weight? No, it's not that. It's the effects that these amounts of stressors, because EMF and radiation and blue light and Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, all of these are stressors to the cells of your body that turn over constantly. Okay, and if you're stressing those cells, you're turning over damaged cells, meaning that the cells that turn over could be not responding to insulin. They could be harboring more estrogen and creating more fat. They could be not having energy, and so they're not producing the amounts of ATP, our kind of energy molecule that's produced by our cells. So it's just something to become aware of. Never in human history have we had this much exposure to Wi-Fi, and never have we had this much inflammation, this much weight gain, this much sleep issues, okay? Are you sleeping with the enemy? Because that would be your cell phone next to your head. If you're not going to sleep next to a microwave oven that's constantly on, there's no difference than sleeping next to your cell phone, okay? So if you have a cell phone near your head, what we want to do is remember this key word. If you get nothing else from this podcast, remember this. Distance is your friend, okay? With devices, with computers, with any sort of Wi-Fi, distance is your friend, okay? So keep it far from your body. Even Apple, you can go into your little Apple manual book for your Apple iPhone. Probably Samsung says the same thing, but go in there and look and see how close it says to hold it to your head. It says to keep it about out here, like about 5 centimeters from your head, okay? And that's, nobody does that. I mean, everybody's holding it right to their head. And remember, Steve Jobs wouldn't even let his own kids have an Apple device. So maybe he knew something that we don't, okay? Let's go on to some more studies here. Here's a brand new study, just out in 2020, that touts that the use of cell phones is a causative factor in thyroid cancers. Okay, so we know that if it affects the thyroid on a cancerous level, could it also be altering our metabolism, which that earlier study mentioned? Okay, it's affecting your thyroid, because sometimes when you're texting, where is the device? right here. Okay, I'm going to make a little text here. What's it across from? This is where your thyroid is, okay? So that radiation where I'm holding it right here is just going right into my thyroid. How do they kill a thyroid? They radiate it, right? If you have something wrong with your thyroid, they're going to radiate your thyroid. So we're doing that in small amounts. Could that be why we have such an epidemic of low thyroid function? I can tell you from my own experience with clients that virtually every single person I'm talking to has a sluggish thyroid. They're exhibiting symptoms of that. So it is now like more of a plethora than ever before. Okay, so another thing that I've noticed is low stomach acid. Okay, stomach acid is important for digestion. So we're seeing a lot of gut issues right now. Like a lot of people are coming to me, I'm gassy, I'm bloated, I got gut issues, I'm not going to the bathroom, or maybe I'm going too much. Okay, so what's the other area that people are putting their cell phone? Do they, if they have maybe an area that they just rest their cell phone on their belly? I've seen that before where people just kind of rest it on their belly while they're texting. Please don't do this. Distance is your friend. If you're going to text, hold it as far from you and only let your fingers touch it, or get a little iPhone stand. We're going to talk about some tips in a little bit that helps you get that distance from your device, because the farther it is from you, the less radiation, the less frequency you're getting from it, the less of an antenna that you are. Okay? So here's another study for you. Ready? It was unveiled that a majority of subjects who were living near cell phone towers complained of sleep disturbances, headaches, dizziness, irritability, concentration difficulties, and hypertension. Now, let me tell you this, because some of you are going, well, I don't live near a cell phone tower. I can't see one. It doesn't matter. You have a cell phone tower right next to you. This is a cell phone tower. Okay, this device I'm on right here, hello, this is a cell phone tower. Okay, it's connecting to a tower. It's no different, except for the cell phone tower is just receiving a lot more messages than yours is. But this is still a teeny tiny tower that we're talking on right now. Okay, and so that being said, the sleep disturbances, the headache, the dizziness, the irritability, the concentration difficulties, and the hypertension is from your cell phone tower. Okay, the little rectangle that we all carry around. So again, distance is your friend. A recent study in the Journal of Oncology says we conclude that radio frequency fields should be classified as a group 2A probable human carcinogen, meaning cancer-causing agent, under the criteria by the International Agency for Research on Cancer. Bingo. Okay, so we are more cancer-ridden as a nation than ever before. There's cancer centers popping up everywhere. Could it be that the rise in device usage has to do with the rise in cancer? Okay, so if you're at all concerned, maybe you have a family history like I do of cancer, there's things we need to do to protect ourselves. Okay, so that's what we're going to get to in just a little bit of time. Did you know that the LTE signal on your phone, okay, so remember when you turn your phone on, now I have mine in airplane mode right now, but let me turn it on. See when it says LTE up at the top here? Let's see if I can get this out of the way. It says LTE at the top. Okay, so did you know that the LTE signal on your phone could be causing you cell senescence and decrease good cell turnover? Okay, this was a study that's done just specifically on this LTE signal, meaning you will age faster. Do you want to get more wrinkles? Do you want more saggy skin? Do you want your cells to die sooner? Well, that is what happens with chronic device usage, okay? This study proved it. Cell senescence means, think of like someone who's senile, who's older, and they're slowly deteriorating. That's cell senescence, okay? The cell's not dead yet, but it's certainly not functioning well. And it's caused by this radiation from the LTE signal and many other signals, okay? So let me see, there was another study I had right here, testicular dysfunction, okay? So I just perked up all the ears of the men out there. Carrying your cell phone in your pocket actually will decrease your sperm count. It will lower testosterone, and so leading to infertility and testicular cancer, basically. And how many of us know guys that carry their cell phone in their pockets? Yeah, like most of them I know do. So again, distance is your friend. Don't carry it in your pocket, or if you do, flick it on airplane mode, okay? Put it on airplane mode. When you need it, turn it off airplane mode, and then you can use it. So we really need to think about this in terms of how can I live in this modern world and use these devices without them harming me? Well, if you've listened to any of my previous podcasts, you'll know that one easy way is to turn off your Wi-Fi and your Bluetooth when you're not using it in your home, in your car, on your phone, on any device. If you're not using the Wi-Fi, go up to the corner of your computer and turn it off. Go up and turn the Bluetooth off. It's one less exposure, okay? Anytime you're eliminating one less, your cells just got a little bit stronger, okay? They have one less deterrent for them to function optimally. All right, so then every time we go outside, you put your feet on the earth, you ground, you get out in nature, that also calms the response. Now that doesn't count if you have your cell phone in your pocket when you're hiking, okay? So turn it on airplane mode when you go for a hike because you're like, oh, I'm out in nature, good, I get to relax and get away from it all. No, if you have a cell phone in your pocket when you're out in nature, you're not getting away from it all. You have a tower walking around with you. So turn it off or leave it in the car or leave it at home, you know, or put it in airplane mode. You can still take pictures. You can, your alarm will still work if you need it. Going to bed, if you turn it on airplane mode and you're like, what about my alarm? It'll still go off, I promise. Now you won't get, you know, if you're a caregiver or your parents are ill or you have children that you need to make sure they get home on time. I get that. Just distance is your friend. So if you're in the bedroom or in your house or wherever you are, put it as far from you that you can still hear the notification in case somebody needs you, but it's as far from you as possible, okay? We can still be in the modern world and not be really damaged by it, basically. In your car, okay, get this. So in your car, don't touch your phone for more than one reason. Obviously, we don't need to be touching our phone when we're driving and texting and calling and all of that. Or using a hands-free option is cool, but use that aux port. Don't use your Bluetooth in your car. Turn it off. You're just swimming in an EMF field when you have your Bluetooth and your Wi-Fi on in your car. Turn it off. There's a little setting you can go and disable it. And then put the little aux port, like it's like a little headphone port, you put that in and you just plug it into your phone and you can still hear music and podcasts and stuff from your phone. Set it all up before you go and then don't touch it. And make sure you turn your phone, if you can, on airplane mode or as little data as possible because you're inside a little tin cage in your car and all of that signal is bouncing off of the metal and into you, okay? So it becomes more of a detriment. Plus, when you're moving, the car is searching for a signal harder than if it's just sitting still somewhere. So the signal is going to be stronger. It's actually like kind of like when you're looking at your phone and you have 1 bar versus 4 bars. It's searching harder. So the radiation is actually stronger at 1 bar than it is at 4 bars, okay? So if it looks like 1 bar, you're like, don't touch it, okay? But if it's a strong signal, like 4 bars, then just do what you need to do and then get off of it. And that's the thing. Like these devices, they've got great apps, they've got great things for us. You can access and order Amazon and Walmart pickup like really easy. Okay, cool. Do that and then get off your phone. Don't use it for Instagram trolling, okay? As much as I know Instagram's cool and everything, and that's where you go to like see what everybody's doing. Number one, it causes anxiety. There's science that proves that. There's research studies that prove that looking through everybody and seeing what they're doing causes anxiety with you. So that's going to dampen your weight loss results because if your body's stressed, you're going to be all tense and release cortisol and adrenaline. You're not going to burn fat, okay? So don't pay attention to what other people are doing. 2 decades ago, before we had Facebook feeds and MySpace and Instagram and all these things, what'd we do? What did you do before you had these devices to numb out to? Did you read a magazine? Did you read a book? Did you go outside? Did you play with your kids? Did you talk to people? Did you call somebody on a landline and tell them about your day? Okay, do those things. But don't numb out to a feed because number one, it's going to cause you anxiety. And number two, it's constant. Every time you move that, it's a new signal. Boom, right into your body. Boom, right into your body. Because it has to connect to the tower to get new information every time you do that. So if you could see it, and I have a meter, I have an electronic meter that measures radiation, and it goes off the charts, off the charts, off the charts every time. That is affecting your cells. We are made of trillions of cells. And if you're not going to go microwave oven, I'm in a microwave oven, I'm putting my head in a microwave oven, I'm pressing go every second, then don't do it with your cell phone, because your health will improve by not doing that. Because I get it, we're all vested in these devices, especially now when we can't connect to our loved ones. We want to be on Zoom. We want to be on FaceTime and call people and text people. Cool, I know. That's what these devices are for. But how about distancing yourself? They've got these things now that are like little iPhone stands. You can get a little stand and stand it there so you don't have to hold it. And you just stand it up and then do your little FaceTime, do your little Zoom call, and keep it a distance from you. They also have these, and they look really attractive, let me tell you. It's like a necklace, and it goes around your neck, and then it comes out, and it's like right here, and it'll hold your cell phone like this far away from you, and then you're like talking on it, but you're not touching it. So it's kind of cool. It's like called Flex View or something. I've seen them at TJ Maxx, and I got one because like if I have to do a Zoom call with a client, I don't want to hold my phone, or if I can't use my computer, I just have it out here, and that way I can face to face with them. So something to check out. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to make using a device usable without causing detriment to you. So let's go into some of those, okay? We've talked about some of the science. Let's go into some of those tips. So shielding is really important. That would be something I would definitely tell you to look into. And I have some of the links already in the main box when I posted the title of this podcast and stuff like that. But there's companies out there that provide shielding apparel for you, that if you're using a device, you are actually deflecting the radiation, the amount of EMF that you're exposed to, and it's going the other way. Okay. Now, there's not these little things that people are putting like a sticker on their phone. They're like, oh, nope, I'm not going to get radiation anymore. Tell me how that works, because that doesn't make sense to me. Even if you shielded one side of your phone, but you're holding it, the other side is still coming at you, okay? So you got to be careful with some of the products, but like this, I'm wearing this like cape because, you know, I am the weirdo. I'm the one that's barefoot and running around with weird leg warmers on that are ratty and falling off. My feet are disgusting. Yeah, you know who I am. Why not wear an awesome EMF cape too? So I'm like an EMF superhero. So anyway, this cape, I tested it with my meter, and if I put the meter back here and I put my phone out in front of me, there's nothing. I get nothing on the meter. But as soon as I come out here, the meter goes ping, ping, ping like that. So it works. Another company that I posted, Mission Darkness, they make a beanie that's for your head. So I'm really sensitive to Bluetooth. And like I said, the top of my head burns. And so this is something that I put on. Yeah, you're all laughing. I know, you laugh it up because it's happening to you. You just don't realize it because it affects every human body. So I'm just the one that can feel it. So they have a beanie, and it's kind of cool. It's really warm, especially right now when I need warm things. Okay, so I put it on and I tested it. I put my phone up in it. I closed it. I tested it with my meter, and I opened it just a crack to see if I could see the signal still good, and I moved the meter right next to the hat, and I got nothing. Nothing was moving, but the phone was still, like, the screen was lit up and everything was on. So I test everything. I want to make sure it works. So Mission Darkness makes shielding blankets. I have a blanket for both myself and my daughter to sleep with at night, because guess what? If you turn off your Wi-Fi and your Bluetooth, but you have neighbors and they don't turn off theirs, you're still being affected by theirs. So in this modern world, and with 5G, which is brand new technology that's rolling out, you know how your phone says 4G? Now it's going to say 5G pretty soon. And that is where they're putting little teeny tiny towers on the sides of buildings every like 500 feet or so. So there's going to be more towers everywhere and more microwave radiation everywhere. So in millimeter waves and things like that that just aren't safe. So with that in mind, you may be doing everything that you can do in your home, but your neighbor isn't. So that's where like things like the EMF blanket come in, to where you can protect yourself and your family. I'm also wearing anti-radiation earbuds, or air tubes they're called. So if you're on Zoom and you're on calls a lot, or you're on your phone and you're listening to music, why don't you get some anti-radiation earbuds, because the radiation can actually come through this from your phone too. Now, my suggestion would be, if you have YouTube or you have iTunes or Spotify, get the premium account. So iTunes, I think, is free, but the premium account on either of those, like Spotify, you can get no commercials, which is nice. You don't have to listen to the commercials. But you also can download podcasts and music and listen to them on airplane mode. Same with YouTube. If you're a YouTube fanatic, you can pay for YouTube Premium, which is like $12.99 a month. And then you download whatever you want to listen to for that week, and then turn it on airplane mode so you can walk around and listen to all your things. And then the next week, just download some more. So that's the benefit. Yeah, you're paying a little extra, but you're investing in your health, okay? You can pay for it now, or you can pay for it when you have a stroke, or when you get cancer and have chemo treatment, or when you have, the weight balloons to a point where you have to get gastric bypass, okay? So pay for it now or pay for it later, that's up to you, but I'd rather just cross all my T's and dot all my I's and try to limit my exposure to stuff that I know is causing me harm. Looking at the research, I mean, I read you like, 6, 7 studies? And if you go into PubMed and you put in EMF radiation and you look at the amount of studies that are in there on how it's affecting us, it will blow your mind. So it's just nobody's talking about it. Why? Because this is how we live. This is how we communicate. This is how we connect with each other. And it's not wrong or bad, but we need to do it safely. Okay? So, all right. So that's a little tip, is like going and getting those, investing in those little programs where you can download ahead of time and then watch them on your own accord. Then we talked about turning off Bluetooth in your car, in your home. If you have Alexa, you might fire her, because she's listening to a lot more than just your grocery list, okay? I'm just saying, you might want to do some research on like how Amazon and things like that are kind of getting in our business a little bit. So it's a little invasion of privacy, but whatever. So it's up to you if you want to have that kind of thing. I just know that if I need information, I'll just like Google it real fast and let it come up, okay? And just do the best I can with the information I have. We talked about getting a cell phone stand for your FaceTime calls and things like that, or your Zoom calls. We talked about not carrying the phone in your pocket or your bra, okay? They're coming out with studies showing that certain breast tumors are actually in the shape of cell phones. And this was even back in the Razor days. Okay, remember the Razor, the flip phone Razor? It looked like a cell phone tumor in many, many women. So even the flip phones had a lot of radiation. It doesn't mean that it's just smartphones. So consider a Faraday shielding case. So they have cases now for your phone that you can put it in that shields it when it's in your purse or in your bag, or even guys in your pockets, okay? And there's a company called getlambs.com, and they have shielded underwear, okay? So then the guy can carry the cell phone in his pocket and it's not getting through to the downstairs because his underwear is shielding him. So as silly as that sounds, it may be something to think about, because that's definitely an area that you don't want to radiate, okay, whether you're male or female. So getlambs.com has women's underwear, they have men's underwear, they have t-shirts. I've tested the t-shirt. I have one of the t-shirts that doesn't let any signal go through. I think I have a code with them that's Jodell, and it'll save you some cash there when you use that. Same with the Mission Darkness. You can use my code Jodell, and that'll save you 5% on there too. But these are things that you can still do what you're doing with your devices, but just do it in a safer way, okay? And then when you've got time, avoid numbing out to a device. So explore the outdoors, craft, find a craft, put down the phone, relax with a good book. Why do we always have to have these in our hands? That's what I want to know. Like, you're in line at the grocery store, you're feed. You're in line in the car when you're at the stop sign. Shouldn't be, by the way. Feed. We need constant entertainment. It used to not be that way, because I remember when I used to come home from school and I'd just kind of sit on the porch and have a snack, like I just watched outside. I just watched the world go by. There's nothing wrong with that, but you have to almost condition yourself to do that again, because we are of this instant gratification nation where we have to know all things and be entertained constantly. And our brain needs to relax. It's a lot of stimulation to go through feed, and then have bright, videos all the time playing in our faces and loud people talking on news channels and podcasts all the time. We need to just rest and digest a little bit, okay? So, and remember, if you know nothing else from this podcast, distance is your friend. When it comes to the smoke coming from a cigarette, distance is your friend. And the same is with EMF from Wi-Fi, from your cell phone, from your wireless speakers and your laptops and your Bluetooth earbuds. All of these things, distance is your friend. And sorry to say, the Wi-Fi earbuds, you're not going to get very far with distance. It just means you're going to have to go to a actual wired connection. There is no safe Bluetooth earbud. Okay, you're swimming in radiation when you have Bluetooth connecting to your phone. So I know the new iPhones don't have the port. You're going to have to get the little connector, the little adapter. I know. It's all not fun. But is it worth your health? Is it worth the possibility that you could probably see results when you start to minimize some of these exposures from stuff that we clearly have seen in the research is affecting our health? Studies I didn't read off to you show that it affects insulin, it affects blood glucose. If you have diabetes, or if you have hypoglycemia, or if you have trouble with sugar handling in general, the phone is only making it worse, meaning that it's only going to put more weight on you if it's increasing insulin. Okay, insulin is a fat-storing hormone. So if the study showed that it's bumping up your insulin levels just by being on a phone, then what's going to happen when you limit that exposure? Maybe your insulin will naturally go down. You'll naturally lose weight. What's going to happen when you do use more airplane mode and turn off all of your notifications for a while and try to keep it away from you? Maybe your thyroid would improve. I don't know. But it's worth a shot because it means that you don't have to diet as hard. You don't have to exercise your brains out. Yeah, you still should take care of your nutrition and you should definitely exercise. But you don't have to kill yourself because maybe it's not those things that are the issue. Maybe it's something that we're doing every day that's right underneath our noses that we're not even aware of, okay? So remember, life is better on the other side of the rectangle, okay, out here. And so put it down and live a little, and just maybe you'll live a little longer. How about that, okay? 2015 study out of the Journal of Stem Cells, okay, called The Effects of Mobile Phone-Induced Electromagnetic Field on Brain Hemodynamics, which blah, 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 means the study quotes the following: both significant misbalance of DNA repair and severe stress response have been triggered by EMFs from cell phone towers. Okay, DNA damage basically is what they're saying. And severe stress response, did you hear that? Like, we have enough stressors. We don't have to add to our stress by having a device in our hand that's emitting radiation. This is why you feel better when you're out in nature and you don't have your cell phone. This is why you're able to calm down. You're not going to be able to do it with these devices. I've seen it. I've seen people go, yeah, I just can't relax, until they put their cell phone away. And then all of a sudden you'll feel them come down. I did a retreat a long time ago. I led a retreat and I said, absolutely no cell phones unless you have to check it one time a day to see if there's an emergency. And they knew that ahead of time. They couldn't bring their device around all the time. They could check it one time a day just in case there was an emergency. And some of people wouldn't sign up for the retreat because I said that. But the ones that did, it was a 10-person retreat. Everybody said it was the most relaxed that they'd been in probably a year because it was the first time they disconnected from their phone. Think of it as if you're a mom and you're always on, the kid's always around you and you're like, oh, I have to make sure they're good, they're not sick, they're not falling down, they're not hurt, they got their food, they're not being mean, But then somebody comes and babysits them for you and you're like, oh, it just feels so good. Nobody needs me, they're not saying mom, mom, mom. I can just relax. That's the cell phone, okay? So set that away and you're gonna feel a lot better. Turn it off for an hour and you're going to feel a difference. Just turn it off, the whole thing. Yeah, Have you ever powered your phone down? It's pretty cool. Like just power it down and then later you can turn it back on. And I promise you, whatever somebody texted or called will still be there when you power it back on. And then you can respond, okay? So that's another little tip too. If you have a text message and you're in airplane mode, like you got a text when it was on earlier and you haven't responded, you can respond in airplane mode and then send, and it won't send it until you turn the phone back on, but it'll remind you because it shows up as like not sent, and then you can send it later and set it down, because every time you text while you're holding it and you press send, it's radiation. So you like go turn the phone on. This is the weird things I do. I set it on the table, turn it on, turn the airplane mode on, press send, and then walk away. And so I'm not bombarded with the radiation. Yeah, you can make fun of me all you want because I make fun of myself. So, but the bottom line is I'm just doing the best I can to stay well. My mom died of cancer. She had the bag phone. She worked in a lab at a hospital with a ton of electromagnetic equipment before there was a lot of electromagnetic fields in our life. She lived in it, or she worked in an electromagnetic field at a lab. And I'm not sure that that didn't kill her, okay? So I don't want to be another statistic. So I'm trying to do all I can to be in this world and not of it, okay? All right, here, let's see, I got one more study for you. I don't see any questions. So apparently either it's information overload or nobody wants to ask because they know they have to like stop doing certain things. Okay, in May of 2011, the International Agency for Research on Cancer declared another probable human carcinogen. So that was a whole nother study in addition to the one I read earlier. And then there was a study in 2007, cell tower and increased cancer risks. There's another one. The study found a significantly higher incidence rates of cancer in people living in closer proximity to a cell phone station. And I think that was 300 meters 400 meters. I wrote it down. So 400 meters. So I think that's roughly a quarter mile radius. So, and brain cancer specifically was mentioned too. So if you have a history of that. And then radiation from radio frequency irradiates your brain cells. So if you have brain fog, trouble concentrating, ADHD, ADD, cell phones can be considered facilitators of health hazards, it says, of radio frequency radiation. So this was an Israeli study that said cell phone broadcasts occur specifically at frequencies which the head serves as an antenna and brain tissue serves as a demodulating radio receiver. Did you hear that? See, it's not just me calling our bodies an antenna. Here's a study that says that. So I'm going to wrap up by saying, I've given you some tips. Do the best you can. Start with one thing. Maybe you're just going to start with turning off your Bluetooth unless you need it, okay? Maybe you're going to get that adapter off of Amazon or wherever that plugs into your phone so you don't use your Bluetooth earbuds. You actually get some wired earbuds. Maybe you're going to go on Amazon and get the anti-radiation earbuds. Maybe you're going to start with that. Maybe you're going to start with a little cell phone stand so you don't hold your phone when you're on Zoom or FaceTime, okay? Maybe you're going to start with turning it on airplane mode at night when you're sleeping. Even though the cell phone's still next to you, it's off. You're not sleeping with the enemy, okay? Maybe you're just going to distance yourself. Maybe you're going to set aside one time a day for an hour when you turn the phone on airplane mode or completely off and you don't touch it for an hour, okay? What if these little exposures actually helped you start losing weight or getting more energy or sleeping better, okay? All of these are going to move the needle towards getting you the results you're looking for. And you didn't have to eat rice cakes. You didn't have to do 100 hours of, elliptical training, okay? So it could be quite simply the fact that you're calming down the stressors in your environment. Keep in mind that our bodies are essentially like a bucket with a spigot at the bottom. And toxic, overloaded chemicals from our food and processed food and lack of sleep because you're stressed out and too much deadlines at work, and then glyphosate sprayed on your food, and then you've got chemicals in my lotions and my shampoos, and now I've got EMF radiation, and then I've got family stress. Like the bucket is piling up, And the little spigot at the bottom can't handle the amount of toxic loads, so the body starts to overflow. That's when we get sick. That's when we get diseased. That's when we feel like crap. That's when our hormones tank and your doctor's like, we're gonna have to put you on bioidentical hormones, okay? That's when your adrenals crash and you go and the doctor's like, well, you're in adrenal fatigue or adrenal exhaustion. Okay, so, which by the way, your adrenals don't fatigue, they keep you going. So it's not really fatigue as much as it is the adrenals are overworked and underpaid, and the rest of your body is suffering because when you chronically put out stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, your sex hormones take a back seat, such as testosterone and progesterone, both of which help you lose weight, and thyroid hormone suffers, which helps you lose weight or have more energy or sleep better or whatever. So it is about lowering the stress load in your body. So maybe you're dialing in organic food and you're eating well and you've gotten rid of all the parabens and the sulfates in your cosmetics and you're using essential oils. That's awesome. Okay. But now let's talk about how much radiation you're exposed to. Just notice, just for the next week, notice what your little iPhone tells you. Your screen time was up 47%, or your battery dies a lot faster than it used to because you're on it so much. Or your kid's pulling at your shirt tail and saying, can I have your attention, please? Okay, all of that is a recipe for maybe I need to make some changes and dial back the exposure a little bit. And what else could I do that doesn't involve a rectangle in my hand? There, I'm done. That's all I got. Like I said, I'm gonna grab all these links of the studies I was mentioning and I'll put them down below so you can do your own research. I highly recommend it. I love when people ask questions and do their own research and become your own detective when it comes to your health. And then hit me up with questions when you see me in the gym. I'm happy to answer and hope we can all live in this world, this modern techie world, and not let it affect us as much as it has been. So while you're stuck at home, if you're quarantining, or maybe you're just home because the roads are icy, do something with your hands other than a cell phone. Maybe a craft, maybe coloring, maybe just some breath work, maybe laying on your back and doing some breathing. And enjoy life. Don't let it go by through a feed, okay? That's all I got. Thanks for watching, and catch you on the other side of the rectangle. Guys, welcome to my little unboxing of the Mission Darkness, the MOS equipment Faraday fanny pack. Yeah, I'm bringing the fanny pack back. Some people I think already have beat me to it. But anyway, this is like an upgraded fanny pack because it's going to also shield me from EMF when I'm carrying my phone in it or my key fob with my key. It's going to be on me, but there's going to be no signal going through. That's how MOS equipment has designed it. So I wanted to see how I wanted to show you guys kind of the unboxing, show you how well it's made. So let me just get my scissors here. I'm already wearing the beanie that they sent, which is super warm, by the way, and effective. I actually tested it with my tri-field meter. I put my phone inside of it, and then it was on my head, but like when I was holding it and I tested it, no signal got through. So there was no EMF detected when I put it in there. So I was really excited about that. So we're going to open this bad boy up here. All right, so when I open it, they've got some little handouts here that show how you actually open up the fanny pack, because if you're like me, I have the brain capacity sometimes of a 2.5-year-old, so I'm going to need some instruction. And then they have combating digital threats. So here's how to, not only are you mitigating the EMF, but you're also protecting your security. So you can't be tracked or you can't be traced when your phone, that GPS on your phone is inside the fanny pack. So we've got it really nicely packaged here. Let's just pull it out. See what it looks like. Ooh, check that out. So it's the Free Roam Faraday Belt Pack. GPS, RFID, hacking, tracking, EMF, EMI, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth are all blocked with this. Oops, remove the box. There's also like a little 1-year warranty. on that, so I'm going to register that. It says register your product, and let's see how it fits, because you know the EMF is important, but the fit is really where it's at. So it looks like it's pretty adjustable here. I'm actually excited to wear this on my paddleboard because I feel like it's a little bit water resistant, and so I can take stuff, you know, take my pocket change on my paddleboard. This feels really cool. This feels like it rolls out. There's some magnets in here that feel like it can help it go back together for people like me with a 2.5-year-old level brain that can't figure things out. So it looks like it has the big main pocket with the shielding fabric on the inside. I really like that. It feels actually really easy to clean too. And then it's got another outside pocket. The outside pocket, to my knowledge, does not have the EMF protection, so it's more like for your, you know, your money and things like that that don't have to be traced. Credit cards should still be in here. So anyway, just want to show you guys that. I'm super excited about my new belt pack. This will now be my new purse because I can wear it and be really cool with fanny pack. So I'm bringing the fanny pack back. Check out MOS Equipment and use my code JODEL. It should save you 5%. I highly recommend the beanie. My head, I haven't taken this off basically. You can ask my husband since I got it. So pretty excited about it. And I'm sure the fanny pack is about to be the same way. Plus the fact that at home I have their EMF blanket, and it's like I can't, my daughter too, it's like we can't go anywhere in the house without our little EMF blanket. So here's just a little test of the bag here. Got my phone. It's not on airplane mode. I've got data going on. I'm going to set it right next to the bag. And check this out. Can you see this? Let's see if I can get it closer. And if I go to press something like my mail, okay, we got a big jump of signals there. Now let's see what happens when we put it inside the bag. That there. Hopefully you can still see this. It'll be jumping around when I put it inside the bag. Let's see if I hold it up. And you might still see some jumping around. I'm going to put it inside the belt pack and secure the little edges. Fold it in there. Now let's see what kind of read we get. So it's fully closed. Bring that down. I got nothing. I got nothing jumping around, nothing going on. The phone is still on. I didn't silence the screen or anything. So there still should be every second basically it's connecting to the tower, but I'm getting nothing, which is kind of cool. Okay. So we know that works. So I'm excited about my new belt pack.